Two Delta planes collide at the New York airport, along with more and more Gen Z protesters on the rise, and the photos on your phone could possibly be tracked by the government. In today's video, we're going to be reacting to the latest strange and bizarre clips that I could find on TikTok. Let's get into it.
So everybody is seeing the same horrifying thing when they go to sleep. Yeah, this is terrifying, so if you do want to sleep tonight, don't. So sleep paralysis occurs when your brain wakes up but your body is still in a deep sleep and essentially frozen. It is actually a lot more common than people think, but when people wake up, they report seeing a horrifying demon or scary person standing over them. Some people having worse encounters than others, but everybody has one thing in common. Usually a dark shadow lurching over them or standing in the corner of the room. That's what everybody says they see. Now the scariest part is everybody reportedly sees the same thing. These sleep paralysis demons looking pretty much identical across different cultures, different people who have never met or spoken. Some say it's connected to the urban legend of the Dream Man. Have you seen this man before? I don't think you have. Over 30% of people on Earth claim that they have seen this man in their dreams before, and everybody details the same face. The scary thing about this, if you didn't know, is your brain can't actually imagine up faces. Like, your brain physically can't do it, so everybody in your dreams you've seen at some point before. So where the bloody hell have we seen this Donny? Well, as I say, people are now connecting the dots and saying maybe he has something to do with sleep paralysis as well. Like, he's running your dreams and this bloke here is just like, yeah, I come when they waking up. But it is weird, and a lot of people do experience this, so let me know your thoughts, and good night.
I have only had sleep paralysis 2 times in my life. Both times were very similar to each other, with the last time being the scariest, mainly only because my grandfather said that he wondered why I was walking up and down the hall when I wasn't, and I heard someone walking down the hall and enter my room and grab my shoulder while I was laying in bed. Long story, I've definitely explained it on an older video, a much older video, but I've never seen the sleep paralysis demon or the shadow entity or the dream man, but the 2 times that I've had sleep paralysis was not fun.
In New York tonight, 2 Delta airline planes collided on the tarmac of LaGuardia Airport. Now, there's nothing reported of any injuries involved, and it happened on the ground, but still, there were people on these planes when they hit each other, and that's gotta freak you out no matter who you are.
Oh yeah.
So
sure.
About 10 p.m. local time there, the collision occurred at LaGuardia Airport on the taxiway, where the planes take off or land, you know, where they're just rolling around. And it was low speed, thank God. So, you know, like I said, nobody reported injured. But it's another in a list of strange shenanigans that are constantly these days. Yeah, constantly going on. We had part of an apartment building, also in New York, collapse today. It just seems like, and maybe it's just me, whenever I open up my phone and look at the news, there's another strange semi-catastrophe. Of course, if you live in this situation, it's definitely a catastrophe. But once again, in both of these events, thankfully, no one was reported injured. Okay, Booshkis, I just wanted to share this with you. Shabadoo!
I looked into this to see if there was any further investigation. So far, they've only sent 10 investigators to see what's going on. It's still under investigation as of 10/2/25. The only thing that they have so far, and it was only a statement provided from Delta, is that air traffic control had instructed the one plane to hold short and yield for the other aircraft to take off. So why the other plane did not stop, hopefully we'll find out. And there was some flight attendants and a pilot that was injured here, but not severely. So luckily there was no severe harm done to everyone else.
Governments around the world are not ready for Gen Z protests. And here's why. This week, there's been even more. In Madagascar, following several days of major nationwide Gen Z protests, the country's president conceded and was forced to dissolve the government. In his address to the country, he added that he now wants to hold talks with young people who are demanding an end to the constant water and power cuts. Happening at the same time in Morocco, protests, largely organized by a group called Gen Z 212, have rocked the country for a 4th consecutive night. The anonymous group have used apps like TikTok, Discord, and Instagram to gather support and are demanding reforms to hospitals and schools, which they claim are being neglected by the government, all while billions are flowing into preparing to host the World Cup in 2030. But the protests in Morocco and Madagascar follow the rise of Gen Z protests before that in countries like Nepal, Kenya, Indonesia, the Philippines, and many more. And they all serve as proof that Gen Z are now fully here. A new generation is now actively shaping political and social discourse. But Gen Z have a powerful tool that many generations before them didn't have: social media. Millions can now organize and rally around a cause faster than we have ever seen before. And not only that, but because of its global reach, these youth-led movements are learning from one another. Many around the world share similarities in strategies like decentralized leadership, the rapid circulation of digital content, and now even the use of shared cultural symbols. The thing is, it's only just begun.
Some of those protests did not look peaceful at all. They looked like straight up riots. Buildings were on fire, cars were on fire. I think I even seen a person running around on fire. Social media is a huge push. If we had this kind of influence way back in the day, I'm sure it would just be as bad, if not even worse. But overall, let me know what you guys think about this. I have never seen a protest like this. I've seen little tiny ones that were fairly peaceful, but nothing to that extent. Hey, if you haven't done so already and you're enjoying the show, give it a like. And if you're new to the channel, subscribe. I upload a video like this every Monday through Friday at 9 a.m. And for everyone that's watching and or subscribed, thank you so much for supporting the channel.
We're all being watched 24/7, and this is how they're doing it. This is Titan Point in the middle of New York City. Like, they're not even trying to hide it anymore. And it's just the most unhuman looking building ever. No windows, no lights, just these massive vents that go all the way around it. Everyone on the streets walks by it like it doesn't even exist. At night, it goes completely dark, disappearing from view like it's actually not even there. But what is it? Why does it look like some evil villain's fortress, some dystopian looking monument straight out of Dune? The official story is that it's an AT&T phone line building that was built in the 70s. And for the most part, that's what it is. Millions of calls are routed through its servers every day. But these are some of the few images of the inside of the building that exist, which were all taken in the 90s. Apparently, people aren't even supposed to be inside of it. And it's designed to run almost entirely remote, completely empty of human beings. Just cold, calculated machines running a pretty dark operation. Because Edward Snowden exposed what this building is really doing. This guy right here, if you remember him, huge NSA whistleblower who's been hiding in Russia for like over 10 years because the government's literally after him. Well, in some of his leaked documents, they're talked about a central surveillance hub in the middle of New York City that was run by AT&T, codenamed Titan Point, a building that used a very specific type of technology called 4ESS switches. And the only building that's in New York City run by AT&T and uses 4ESS switches is this one right here. And for the most part, it is a data routing center for phone calls, internet, and satellite communications. But the leaked documents reveal that there's a hidden room in this building called the SCIF, Sensitive Compartmented Information Facility, which basically acts as a wiretap room that duplicates all the data that passes through the building and sends it directly to the NSA, the National Security Agency run by the US government, who use an internal search engine called X-Keyscore that allows them to search up any information that passes through this building, making this building a massive spy center for all your private phone and internet data hidden in plain sight. Its address is also 33 Thomas Street, and if you don't know what 33 means, this is not the video for that. But hey, if you don't live in the New York region, surely your private data is safe, right? Nope, because there are at least 8 other hubs like these across the US that are used by the NSA for the very same purpose. In LA, San Francisco, Seattle, Chicago, Washington, DC, all run by AT&T. Creepy, dystopian looking buildings with little to no windows that don't look like they were made for humans, but for machines that are slowly replacing our human workforce. Makes you wonder if this is the direction that buildings and city skylines of the future are headed in, all run by cold, calculated programs with no regard for privacy or human values, watching every move you make. Things are getting pretty 1984 out here.
I'm sure that there's so many other secret rooms in those buildings that are for other types of saved data, whether it's dark web data, high valued individuals information. I'm certain that there's other rooms specifically for other things like that. We've constructed server rooms before. I actually really enjoy doing that job. I like terminating panels. I like routing the wires. It's a really fun, satisfying process. And I've been in buildings kind of like that, where it has to be sealed off just to keep the rooms extremely cool, because it gets hot in those rooms really fast. That's what those giant vents are for. I would really like to see the inside of that building. I bet it's extremely loud in there as well. But other than that, this really isn't any surprising information to me personally. Let me know what you guys think in the comments.
Look at this picture, taken at night from a campsite with the night vision. Do you notice anything? Right? What about now that I circled it? Do you notice it now? Because there's something standing there. And like the good, curious cheesehead that I am, I want to look closer. Can you see it now? Because I see it, and it looks like something walking, but not a guy. Something else. Something that could it be a Sasquatch? Could it be a Bigfoot? Could it just be some weirdo? I don't know. But since it was walking around in the pitch dark, in the middle of the forest, I doubt it's a weirdo. But you never know. So let's take an even closer look. Yeah, that definitely looks like the Sasquatchy Bigfoot type of thing. I don't know what it's doing there, but it's taking a walk in the middle of the forest, in the middle of the night. Or maybe it's doing some skeet scat and sneak slamming shenanigans. Let me know what you think, Pooshkies, in the comment section. Shabadoo!
Definitely no mistaking that looks like a Bigfoot. If this is not a fake photo, probably one of the best Bigfoot sightings I've seen. It's a shame it was not a video to catch the movements of the walking or an image after or before it got into that shot. Nonetheless, it does look like a Bigfoot. Let me know what you guys think in the comments. Do you think it's real or do you think someone set it up as a hoax?
Europe is setting their sights on going to Enceladus in 28 years. Now that NASA has found the clearest signs of life on Mars, the race is on to find out what other worlds might have it too. Enceladus might be that next world. Saturn's moon is only about 300 miles across,
Or 1.6 million pumpkin spice lattes.
and temperatures of negative 330 degrees on the surface, but underneath 15 miles of ice is an ocean of liquid water. Life, as far as we know, probably needs three things. Water, a source of energy, which in our case is the sun, but on Enceladus is heat from the core, and the right chemical combinations. And Enceladus already has a lot more of this than Mars. We know this because of a fortuitous turn of events in 2008, when the Cassini probe was able to perform a flyby within a few minutes of an eruption from below the ice. It collected the sample and found complex organic molecules, which is pretty interesting for a place that looks like a frozen wasteland. The problem was the instruments aboard weren't actually designed to analyze what kind of molecules they were. So the European Space Agency is planning on launching a mission in the next 20 years and actually land on the surface. They'll need to build an orbiter to stay in orbit, and also a lander to come down onto the surface to take samples. Not to mention, it can take up to 11 years to reach this moon, so it's all a very long process, which is why we need to start planning these missions now.
Okay, so say they do go to this planet and there is aquatic life. So what? What does that do for us? To justify spending and investing that much money and time doing that. We have enough problems here on Earth. They could be spending that much money and time fixing and healing Earth instead of worrying about these other planets that we'll never be a part of within our lifetime or probably even our next. That's the kind of stuff that I just don't understand. Spend that money and time fixing and healing the Earth or supporting the people of the Earth. There's so many countries that could benefit just off of one of these space projects alone. I mean, don't get me wrong, the science and the theories behind it all, super fascinating. Let's play with that way later on down the road once we have everything perfected here. That's my take on it anyways.
Do you know that the government could literally be going through your photos right now? A lot of people do not know this because they think that their Apple device is completely encrypted and no one can access it, which is false. Make sure you share this with a friend because anybody who uses an iPhone or any phone is gonna need to see this. This could also get a lot more interesting and kind of scary with the whole digital ID thing that's coming in, so we'll see what happens. Apple announced a system a while ago called CSAM detection. The idea was to allow them to actually scan through iCloud photos to detect if anything that shouldn't be there is there. They have algorithms in place and actual people who scan through this to detect if there's any illegal material on your iCloud. They do this en masse, but as I said, the caveat is they have access to your entire iCloud library, not just the images that they find. Now, Apple have said this is for safety reasons only, and everything else is very strictly protected, but some privacy experts warn that it leaves the door open to government surveillance and hackers because someone could just get in and see your important information. Now, they're also starting to use this to find criminals in the background of your photos, so again, looking into more photos. Now, the whole CSAM detection service was reportedly paused a while ago, but people are 90% sure this is still happening, and we do know for certain that the governments can access it if they want to. So the question you've got to ask yourself is, How private are your photos, really?
I personally think that as long as your device is not connected to the Wi-Fi or cellular data and it's completely just straight out of the box, not connected to those services, you're completely fine. But the moment that that thing connects to Wi-Fi or cellular data, you've been exposed. No matter what the agreement, no matter what the companies say, that stuff has been breached, accessed, and it's exposed to the company at the least.
The James Webb Space Telescope may have discovered a brand new class of cosmic objects known as the black hole star, which many of you might say sounds suspiciously familiar to Soundgarden's Black Hole Sun or Gunship's Dark All Day, where there's a planet that orbits a black hole. When I saw this, I initially thought that this was confirmed existence and proof of a solar system where a black hole of similar mass of our sun is there and planets orbit around it, not too different than our universe, or our galaxy, I should say, except we have a black hole instead of a sun. But that is not what the James Webb Space Telescope discovered. They discovered an extreme version of little red dots dubbed the Cliff, with its light suggesting that it could be a new, never-before-seen class of objects called a black hole star, which is very, very wild. This newly hypothesized object would essentially be a black hole feeding so rapidly that it lights up the thick cocoon of gas surrounding it, making it glow like a star. Previously, astronomers proposed alternative explanations for these, such as, and we're going to scroll down to one of these other ones, that these little dots are perhaps extremely massive and compact galaxies with intense star formation, leading to very large stellar densities and brightnesses in their cores. However, the other possibility is that they host massive black holes at their centers, often appearing overmassive compared to the stellar mass of their relative galaxies, causing them to glow. If the second possibility is true, then we have discovered a new class of solar object, which is absolutely fascinating. Some people kind of really freak out when the James Webb Space Telescope discovers something that should be rare, unique, impossible, never heard of before, but a good scientist will always say, ooh, that's interesting. What else can we learn?
Black hole sun, won't you come and wash away the pain?
Sorry, that's all I could think of when I was listening to that. I'm really going downhill fast.
Oh, how did this take so long? If you hadn't heard, there was a lost African tribe that had set up camp in the Scottish forest and refused to leave. They call themselves the Kingdom of Kubala, and when asked why they are doing this, this is what their king had to say.
The prophecy must be fulfilled, the reclaim of the land which belongs to our forefathers. I am the king of Kubala, and I have come to reclaim my heritage, the lost tribe and the lost land for my ancestors.
And when the reporter tried to explain that this land belonged to the local council, he said this.
The land and the earth belongs to the creator of the heavens and the earth. No one belongs to the earth apart from the kingdom of Kubala. The skies, the earth is for the kingdom of Kubala, and we have come to stay.
Now, to make things even crazier, King Athihi from Ghana and Queen Nandi from Zimbabwe were formerly failed business entrepreneurs according to the Scottish Sun, and their handmaiden from Texas was filed as a missing person by her family, until of course she was discovered on the other side of the earth in the Scottish forest with an African tribe. And let me tell you, the Kingdom of Kubala have put up a fight to reclaim their stolen land, because they've been pitched up here for 6 months straight. They started back in May until today. This morning, police escorted them out of the forest, dismantled their tents, and threw bags into the back of a rubbish truck. The king and queen were arrested over suspected immigration offenses, while the tribe streamed the eviction live on their TikTok.
That guy was about to start a whole-on cult out there. Their backstory is wild. How is it people like that always seem to get a following of people that believe them or trust them? Their charisma stats are extraordinarily high, along with the people that are following them are probably high as well, but not in charisma, just high. This honestly almost seemed like a parody.
Nearly 100 people have become sick on a 13-day Royal Caribbean cruise, and the culprit? Norovirus. The ship was from Diego to Miami, and a few days after it stopped in Mexico, passengers began feeling ill. Passenger Joshua Pettit told CBS Miami he started to notice enhanced protocols at the buffet. Instead of serving yourself, he saw the ship employees serving the food. Soon after that, Pettit's dad, Bob, suddenly fell ill. He said his dad couldn't even make it to the bathroom. That's how quickly it came on. He said his dad was given medication and told to quarantine in their room, and Bob described the virus as very fast and violent. And that's what happens when you contract norovirus. The CDC says it is extremely contagious. It causes vomiting and diarrhea, and in shorthand, it's called the stomach bug, but it can knock you out for up to 3 days, and people can still spread the virus for a few days after that. Meanwhile, the Pettit said they saw cleaning crews out in full force attempting to disinfect areas of the ship.
Fairly normal to always see a person cleaning somewhere on a cruise ship, but now you were seeing 4 to 6 people fanatically wiping every handrail, a chair when someone got up, right, wiping the arms. They've been doing all the handles in the hallway, tables, anything anybody touches, they're out in force wiping.
As for Royal Caribbean, they reported the outbreak to the CDC's vessel sanitation program and implemented its outbreak prevention and response plan, which includes isolating sick passengers, disinfecting common areas, and collecting stool samples for testing. According to the vessel sanitation program, an outbreak is defined as when 3% or more of a ship's passengers or crew report gastrointestinal illness symptoms. So, out of the ship's more than 1,800 passengers, 94 have become ill. That's about 5%. And 4 of the 883 crew members were also affected. This isn't the first time Royal Caribbean has faced a norovirus outbreak this year. Back in July, more than 140 passengers and crew fell ill aboard the Navigator of the Seas during a week-long cruise from LA with stops in Mexico. Norovirus can be extremely dehydrating, which could be a big issue if you're immunocompromised, if you're an infant, or you're very old. And again, this has been happening with some frequency. The CDC says at least 23 cruise ship gastrointestinal outbreaks happened in 2025 so far, a number that has already surpassed the 18 outbreaks reported the entire year of 2024, and there were only 14 in 2023. So to prevent getting sick, the CDC says you should wash your hands well and often, cook shellfish thoroughly, and wash fruits and vegetables because it is foodborne. You should also clean and disinfect contaminated surfaces, wash laundry in hot water, and stay home when you're sick for 48 hours after the symptoms stop.
Jeez, oh Pete, that would be miserable. You're out to sea that's on a 13-day cruise. Midway through this cruise, you become extraordinarily ill, along with everyone else vomiting and having diuretic outbursts. That would not be pleasant. I was actually kind of considering doing a cruise, not this year, but maybe next. One of my friends really hypes up the Comic-Con cruise, and I kind of want to go, but I don't know now. Knowing my luck, this would happen to me. That's gotta be a miserable time. Alright guys, I'm gonna go ahead and end today's video. As always, I want to thank you guys for watching these clips with me. If today's your birthday, happy birthday. And if not, have a good day anyways.